I'm amused at watching NFL insiders, Ian Rappaport specifically, just kind of wander around looking for somebody to talk to. It works for them. It works for them. They're trying to talk to everybody. I'm just here to talk about the Texans out here in West Palm Beach, not at the beautiful Casa Grandview at the Breakers Hotel where they had the annual meetings, aka the owners' meetings. I wish I was at the Casa Grandview. The air conditioner's better. It's a lot quieter. You hear all these birds. There are no birds at the Casa Grandview. Check them out when you want to go on vacation this summer in West Palm, or next year when you want to go hang out and watch the Astros in West Palm Beach. But let's talk about the wide receiver situation for the Houston Texans. Look, a year ago, it was kind of settled. Even before the NFL draft got here, you're going to have Nico Collins, you're going to have Tank Dell, you're going to have Stephon Diggs, and if Diggs plays really well, they'll extend him, and they'll be good. Three-headed monster. It's going to be awesome, and it wasn't awesome. It wasn't good when they were healthy. Dell got injured, Diggs got injured, Nico Collins got injured, and it just never clicked and turned out the way the Texans needed it to. They hit the offseason. Tank Dell's a question mark for 2025, unlikely to play, I would say. And then Stephon Diggs was a free agent coming off of a serious knee injury. What do? Well, you go out there and you add 3 wide receivers, 1 via trade, 2 via free agency. And DeMeco Ryans talked about all of them. Let's start with the slot merchant, Christian Kirk. Lots of positives from DeMeco Ryans as he talked about Christian Kirk.
Excited to add Christian. I've been watching him for a while now back in Arizona and Jacksonville. He's always a guy that you watch, and he was always impressive to me, just how he played the game. Plays fast, plays tough. So excited to add him to our team. I think he's another guy who's just his mindset is I'm coming in to help the team win games. Like his mindset is exactly the type of guy that I would want to work with, and I think our guys will really enjoy working with him. I love Christian's just his speed. That's the one thing that jumps out about him is with David Trade, he's a fast player, right? He's made a lot of nice plays in the slot, running the deep routes in the slot, or it's the option routes of winning on third down. So I'm excited to see what he brings on third down. I think he can really open up a lot of options for us on third down, whether that's especially from the inside position. I think he'll be a friendly target for CJ.
I threw a penny in this fountain, hoping that DeMeco Ryans doesn't treat opposing players that played well against him like Bill O'Brien did, when O'Brien just had to have Chris Polk when he treated a 60-yard, 1-touchdown game from Polk like Adrian Peterson going for 293. Remember that? And then Chris Polk never played NFL football again after he was on the Texans. I remember that. And so my wish was that DeMeco Ryans doesn't treat opposing players like that. Worth noting, Christian Kirk, 5 games, about 300 or so yards and 2 touchdowns against DeMeco Ryans. So it's not quite a Chris Polk situation. But Kirk, when you listen to DeMeco Ryans talk about him, it's clear he's going to get the majority of the slot reps for this team, and he should. He was a slot guy for most of his career. Now he's got a little bit of outside usefulness, but with Kirk occupying the slot, that kind of gives you the idea of what type of rookie wide receiver you should try to get most. Somebody that can play outside and maybe long-term, because Kirk's only got a 1-year deal right now, maybe long-term ends up as a slot option, but has to be able to play outside Nico Collins. They've got to find that starter opposite Nico Collins before the offseason finishes up. I don't believe that player is currently on the roster. They might have contributors to that spot opposite Nico Collins, but a starter, that's not it. And Christian Kirk, with DeMeco Ryans' conversations there, looks like he's going to be a slot player. And so with Kirk in the slot, he's been a productive player when healthy. 2 freak injuries in Jacksonville kept him from being on the field. It was a core muscle injury in 2023. It was the collarbone in 2024. These aren't like recurring knee issues. So a healthy Christian Kirk has pretty much always been a productive Christian Kirk, and the Texans have to hope for that. He wasn't the only wide receiver that they added, though, and he wasn't the only slot option that the Texans added. DeMeco Ryans on slot receiver / special teams ace, Braxton Berios.
Berios has shown the ability to be a really good punt returner in the league, so expecting to see that from him, but also not just punt return, but he's also showing up, making plays in the slot as a receiver.
The sun was killing me. Not as many shady spots here at this big fancy hotel. Like, there's a lot of shady spots at the Casa Grandview, a lot of great places to relax, kick back. You saw me yesterday in the lounger doing the show. It's a great spot, the Casa Grandview. You got to check it out for vacation this summer or for Astros Spring Training next year right here in West Palm Beach. Berios from right down the road. Played with the Miami Dolphins after playing with the Jets for a little while, was a Hurricane in college, and coming off of a serious knee injury, ACL injury for him. What does he bring to the table in the slot? Very little, but special teams usefulness and usefulness on the field. And to me, when DeMeco Ryans talked about that, I don't know if they want any more one-trick ponies when it comes to the wide receiver special teams usefulness. And it got me thinking, is John Mechie the type of guy that because he doesn't play a ton of special teams, he's not as useful as a guy like Braxton Berios on special teams? Does that sort of push John Mechie? Now, Berios, DeMeco Ryans said some nice things about him. It was pretty nice for a guy who really hasn't had that much slot success, but he was an all-pro on special teams back in 2021, and I think he's in the top 10 for kick returns and kick return average over the past 4 years. But DeMeco Ryans was very complimentary of the other free agent wide receiver the Texans added, Justin Watson.
And Watson has just been one of the most consistent guys in the league. Plays fast, plays the game the right way. So I'm excited to add him. Bigger receiver, plays fast, tough, physical. So excited to add him to our group as well.
You tell me, is this supposed to be a two-person seat? It doesn't feel like a two-person seat. Maybe that's a Cody problem. You don't have any questions about the seating at Casa Grandview. Check them out, casagrandview.com. DeMeco Ryans saying that Justin Watson's one of the most consistent wide receivers in football. Well, he's been pretty consistent as a depth piece for the Kansas City Chiefs the past 3 seasons. He's been like 6th in targets and stuff like that. The receptions haven't always come through for him, but hey, if he's the 5th wide receiver, even if he was maybe your 4th on a given day, you can live with a guy like Justin Watson on your roster. And with his contract commitment, which is 2 years, $5 million, I think $3 million guaranteed according to SpotRack, that's a guy that feels like he's on the roster. And when you talk about consistency at a big body wide receiver, that's kind of what they hoped Xavier Hutchinson was going to be. Consistency and a little bit of a bigger bodied wide receiver, but Hutchinson hasn't been consistent in his opportunities, so it feels like Berios is here to really push John Mechie. Watson's here as like a measuring stick for what Hutchinson can bring to the table as well. And when you start to think about, okay, well, Christian Kirk's on the roster, and Nico Collins is on the roster, and you got to imagine Berios with the special teams usefulness. He's on the roster. There's 3. Watson, there's 4. They're only keeping 6, and the spots start to trickle away pretty quick when you're trying to figure out who's going to be on that depth chart when they break camp and training camp. And it could be a lot of competition for those final 2 spots. And it really could only be competition for 1 spot if they draft a rookie wide receiver. So drafting a wide receiver, I'm very much in favor of it. Hell, draft 2 of them if the opportunity presents itself. I don't love this wide receiver class like I loved last year's wide receiver class. In fact, leaving out Travis Hunter, who he's not a true wide receiver, though I think that's what he should play, I like the first 9 guys in last year's draft more than all the wide receivers in this year's draft. And I even like Adonai Mitchell, who was a day 2 pick, more than all the guys in this year's draft class. So Ladd McConkey, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., Xavier Legette, Keon Coleman, so on and so forth. I like all those guys more than Tetairoa McMillan, more than Matthew Golden, more than even Emeka Egbuka, who is a player we've talked a lot about here on the channel. I like the draft class from last year. But just because I like the draft class from last year and I don't believe these guys are as good doesn't mean the Texans should be avoiding wide receiver. In fact, it probably pushes it to the top of the shopping list. I know we all want to see them fix the offensive line, but they've got to get somebody to start opposite Nico Collins, and the likelihood of that player being ready to help day 1 diminishes once you go into day 2 or day 3 for the wide receiver. So when you think about it from that standpoint, a 25th overall pick and a wide receiver kind of feels like a match made in heaven and necessity for the Houston Texans right now. So Emeka Egbuka, Luther Burden from Missouri, and Matthew Golden, should he fall that far, though Golden is made his way up the draft boards here in the last little bit of the college season, as well as the draft process because of his speedy 40 and, well, the impressive success that he had there at the back end of the season. Let's not talk about the fact that he basically was super inconsistent prior to the back end of the season. We're not going to mention that too much, But anyway, so drafting a wide receiver, pretty important for the Houston Texans. Got to get somebody that can contribute right away. And even though that player's not going to be a star wide receiver, more than likely, he's not going to be a true number one. If you get someone that is a solid number two that can kind of share with Christian Kirk at some point in 2025 and then take over as the number two pass catcher in 2026, that's a good win there for the Houston Texans. But you're kind of seeing how that wide receiver room is getting put together, and it's definitely going to get put together if they use a top draft pick on it. My top draft pick, Casa Grandview. What else? CasaGrandview.com is where you can find them. Vacation rentals, 1 to 3 bedrooms. They're all suites. They all take care of you. They all give you everything that you would want. So you walk in, you feel like you're at your own vacation home out here in West Palm Beach. Man, they do summer right out here, right next to the beach, crystal clear water, and you're right in a quiet part of West Palm Beach. I don't know if I've ever slept as good as I did here at the Casa Grandview than I did the past couple of nights with Casa Grandview, because it's so quiet. You're in a quiet part of West Palm Beach, but you're still near everything. You're near great restaurants. You're not that far from the water as well, man. They've got everything that you need to have exquisite luxury, but in a casual setting at Casa Grandview. You saw some of the pictures and videos that I've been putting up on Instagram. If not, I'll certainly overlay some of those here for you on the video, but you got to check them out for a summer vacation, for a family vacation, and especially if you're coming next year to watch the Houston Astros at West Palm Beach in spring training, you've got to check out Casa Grandview. It's the place to stay. They're my top draft pick when I'm on the road out here in West Palm Beach. They'll be your top draft pick as well. So, draft pick, Christian Kirk, Justin Watson, Braxton Berios, maybe another veteran after the draft. We can talk about that after the draft. Heck, maybe 2 draft picks. Wouldn't that be nice? Texans wide receiver room, you can kind of see the path. Maybe there's some surprises along the way, and they'll get something in training camp out of somebody and make it work in that wide receiver room. Appreciate you watching the video. Check out my friends at Casa Grandview, CasaGrandview.com. Can't wait till we talk Texans again soon. I'm not gonna lie, I messed up the end there, so we're gonna do that again. Appreciate you watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Visit my friends at Casa Grandview. Call Miss Cheryl. Book your visit out here in West Palm Beach, and I can't wait till we talk Texans again soon. Bonus food review. You didn't think this was coming. It's not Friday, but we got a food review for you. My beautiful Casa Grandview accommodations. And you're coming here for Astros Spring Training next year, coming here for a summer getaway to West Palm. Oh, this is the place to stay. It's incredible. It's so quiet here. I almost couldn't sleep. It was so quiet last night. But that incredible bed over there that is so comfy took care of me. Buchan Sandwich Shop. So popular that it was a pop-up on the side of another restaurant. They had to open another pop-up. It was on Palm Beach, and they opened one in West Palm Beach. The beef carpaccio is supposed to be the go-to, but I also got the steak bomb, okay? Steak bomb, cooked steak, beef carpaccio, not cooked steak. Hopefully it doesn't tear me up. Let's try that steak bomb first. Look at this thing. All right. Bread's toasted perfectly. Okay, a lot of flavor there. Tell you, spicy mayonnaise on it. And see there, I didn't know those pickled peppers were in there, which gives it a nice finish there on the back end. That's an excellent sandwich. It is a little spicy, actually. Wow, okay. There's that spicy mayo after a couple of bites. All right, so a little spicy. It's definitely a heavy sandwich. That is not hang out at the beach sandwich. That is take it back to your beautiful Casa Grandview location and eat it here and then take a nap. That's that type of sandwich. That's a good sandwich. Now this one, the beef carpaccio, it's got some onions in there, some fried onions in there. Obviously the beef carpaccio, I think it's arugula in there. A lemon vinaigrette. Those are balsamic onions as well on top. This is supposed to be the sandwich in West Palm Beach. Let's give it a shot here. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good. Let me get another bite here. Now that is a take to the beach sandwich. That is a sandwich you could unwrap half of it right there on the sand or overlooking the water and still have a lot of moving around in you. That's a very good sandwich. All right, steak bomb. We'll go with a 9 flat. We'll go the 9 flat on the steak bomb. The beef carpaccio, man, the layers to this, a little hint of lemon vinaigrette, the arugula in the middle. It gives you that peppery flavor, and those two types of onions. I'm a fiend for onions. Those two types of onions. You definitely get both flavors, and in the beef carpaccio flavor, it is not an overwhelming beef flavor. Man, it is seasoned perfectly. That's a great sandwich. That's a great sandwich. That's a 9.8 sandwich right there. That's a great sandwich. I would like to take one of those home with me and eat it like sometime next week. That's a 9.8. From the Casa Grandview, beautiful accommodations that I have here. A little bonus food review for you. Appreciate you watching.